A Michael Kors outlet tote can be marked from almost $500 down to around $119. That sounds like a deal until you check the material. Mostly coated canvas, polyester, and polyurethane, with leather trim doing the heavy lifting in the description. The discount is loud. The bag is not telling the same story. And that is the problem with a lot of bag shopping in 2026. People are not just buying storage, they are buying a signal, a logo on the front, a boutique feeling, a price tag that makes the bag seem more serious than it really is. Subscribe if you want fashion breakdowns that follow the material, the markup, and the wear per dollar instead of the marketing. For this list, we are not judging bags by whether they are popular, trendy, or recognizable. We are judging them by what actually matters after the receipt is gone. What is the outer material? Is it real leather, coated canvas, nylon, polyurethane, or vague leather-like material? What is the lining? Are the straps stitched into stress points properly? Is the hardware solid, or does it just look shiny under store lighting? And, most importantly, would the bag still make sense if the logo disappeared? Because once you remove the logo, some bags become very ordinary very quickly. A tote is just a tote. A satchel is just a satchel. The material has to do the work. The first brands on this list are not always terrible. That would be too easy. The real issue is worse. They often train shoppers to confuse a discount, a logo, or a trend with value. That starts with one of the most familiar names on the mall handbag wall. Number 7, Nine West. Nine West is the kind of brand that can look surprisingly polished from 6 feet away. The shape is current, the hardware is shiny, the color choices are easy to wear. For someone who just needs a bag for a few months, that can be enough. But that is also the limit. The problem is the material language. A lot of Nine West bags are described with phrases like softest buttery material, leather-like material, or lamb-like soft material. Those words sound nice, but they do not tell you much. If a brand is using full-grain leather, top-grain leather, or even a clearly named coated canvas, it usually says so. When the description starts dancing around the material, the buyer should slow down. A bag strap is not decoration. It carries weight every day. A work satchel might hold a wallet, keys, cosmetics, a charger, sunglasses, and sometimes a tablet. That load pulls on the handles, the side seams, and the hardware. Polyurethane can look clean at first, but once the surface starts peeling or cracking, the bag usually cannot be repaired in a satisfying way. So Nine West is not a never buy brand if the price is low and your expectations are honest. Under $50 on sale for a short-term fashion bag, fine. But at $100 or more, the math gets weak fast. At that point, you are close to entry-level leather from better value brands. Number 6, Guess. Guess has the same problem, but louder. The bags often lean heavily on logo patterns, gold tone hardware, charms, and designer-inspired shapes. On a shelf, that can create the feeling of a premium handbag. On the tag, the story changes. Some Guess totes are listed as faux leather or 100% polyurethane. That matters because polyurethane is basically a plastic coating made to imitate leather. It can be useful for cheap fashion bags, and it can be easier to wipe clean. But it does not age like leather. It does not soften into character. It usually goes from new-looking to tired-looking with very little graceful middle stage. That is where the price becomes the issue. If a Guess tote is discounted to $40 or $60, the buyer can decide whether the look is worth it. But when these bags sit near $120, $140, or $160, the logo is doing too much of the work. Would you pay that much for the same polyurethane tote if the triangle logo were removed? That question cuts through the styling. Guess can be fun, but fun is not the same as value. For daily wear, especially if you carry a bag hard, this is one of the first places to stop overspending. Number 5, Marc Jacobs, especially the canvas tote bag. This one will annoy some people because the bag is popular for a reason. It is practical, it is recognizable. The shape works for travel, errands, laptops, and daily clutter. The large printed branding also makes it easy to identify, which is part of the appeal. But the value question is simple. How much should a cotton canvas tote cost because it says the tote bag on the front? The medium canvas version sits around $200, and the large version can be higher. The brand describes the material as textural cotton canvas that is meant to fade and relax over time. That is honest, but it is also the warning. Fading and relaxing may sound charming in a product description, but on a heavily used canvas bag, it can also mean the color dulls, corners soften, and the whole bag starts looking less sharp. Canvas is not bad. A good canvas tote can be useful for years. But canvas is not rare. It is not luxury leather. It is not some complicated construction miracle. With the Marc Jacobs tote, you are paying for the shape, the trend, and the giant label. If you love it and you use it constantly, the cost per wear can still work. But if you are buying it because it feels like an affordable designer bag, that is where the trap is. It is not a leather investment piece. It is a branded canvas utility bag. The next brands are trickier because they sit closer to what shoppers think of as accessible luxury. Number 4, Kate Spade. Kate Spade is not a low-quality brand across the board. That is what makes it tricky. Some of the brand's leather bags are genuinely decent. Clean shapes, wearable colors, pebbled leather, practical compartments, and a more polished look than cheaper mall bags. If you buy the right piece at the right price, it can make sense. The issue is the full price story. Kate Spade trains shoppers to wait for a sale. Once a brand runs constant promotions, outlet events, surprise deals, and final sale markdowns, the original price starts to feel less like a real value and more like a starting point for negotiation. A tote at $300 may look like an investment on Monday, then appear at 40% off later. That should make you pause before paying full price. The second issue is category confusion. A leather work tote is not the same as a novelty bag, a fabric bag, or a coated canvas logo bag. The name on the front may be the same, but the wear life can be completely different. A simple pebbled leather tote has a much better chance of aging well than a trendy seasonal shape with delicate trim. So the rule with Kate Spade is not never buy. It is never buy in a hurry. Check the material, check whether the bag is final sale, look at the stitching around the handles. Ask yourself whether the color and shape will still feel useful 2 years from now. Kate Spade can be good, but it can also make shoppers pay boutique prices for pieces that should only be bought on discount. Number 3, Tory Burch logo-heavy totes and trend bags. Tory Burch has a stronger premium image than most mall handbag brands. The stores feel polished. The hardware is recognizable. The double T logo gives the bag instant identity. And some of the leather bags are well made enough for real daily use. But that logo can also blur the math. When a tote or crossbody depends heavily on visible branding, you have to ask what is left without it. Is the leather thick and convincing? Is the strap comfortable? Does the zipper feel smooth? Are the edges finished cleanly? Or is the bag mainly selling a social signal? That matters because visible logo bags age in 2 ways. The leather ages physically, but the logo ages culturally. A quiet leather tote can stay useful even when trends change. A logo-heavy bag can start to feel dated long before it falls apart. That means your cost per wear may be worse than expected, even if the bag is not technically broken. Tory Burch is strongest when the design is restrained and the leather is the point. It is weakest when the logo, chain, quilting, or trend shape is doing the selling. For 2026, the safer move is simple. Avoid paying full price for the loudest pieces. If the bag only excites you because other people can identify it quickly, that is not value, that is rented status. Number 2, Polene. If you are buying online without tolerance for risk, Polene is almost the opposite problem. The bags are not loud in the usual mall brand way. They are sculptural, minimal, and expensive looking without giant logos. That is why so many shoppers see Polene as the smart alternative to luxury. But the buying experience has become a risk for some customers. The concern is not just the design, the concern is consistency. When shoppers complain about quality control, delayed responses, repair problems, return friction, or bags arriving with flaws, that changes the value equation. A $500 bag is not only leather and hardware, it is also the company standing behind the product when something goes wrong. That is why Polene belongs on the caution list. Not because every bag is bad, but because the risk is uneven. If you can inspect the bag in person, feel the leather, check the glazing, open the zipper, and look at the corners before buying, the situation changes. But ordering online and hoping customer service will fix a problem quickly is a different bet. For some shoppers, the design is worth that risk. For others, it is not. If returns are expensive, slow, or stressful for you, Polene is a brand to pause on in 2026. Number 1, Michael Kors Outlet Logo Totes. This is the clearest example because the pricing tells on itself. When a tote is advertised with a high original price and a massive markdown, shoppers feel like they beat the system. But if the bag is mostly coated canvas, polyester, and polyurethane, the real question is whether the original price ever made sense in the first place. Michael Kors outlet bags often use the language of luxury. Monogram print, gold tone hardware, structured shape, polished handles, designer name, but many of the most recognizable outlet totes are not full leather bags. They are coated canvas or logo print materials with leather trim. That can be durable enough for errands, but it is not the same thing as a high-quality leather tote. The discount is the product. That is the part most shoppers miss. You are not just buying a bag, you are buying the feeling of saving hundreds of dollars. And that feeling can make an ordinary coated canvas tote seem more valuable than it is. So if you already own one and it works for you, use it, no shame. But in 2026, stop treating these bags like smart luxury buys. They are logo-heavy outlet products with aggressive markdown psychology. Pay outlet prices, judge them as outlet bags, and do not let the was price do the thinking for you. Once you stop shopping for the biggest fake discount, the better bags become much easier to spot. Now the list changes direction. The point is not that every affordable bag is bad, or that every expensive bag is good. That is the exact mistake brands want shoppers to make. A high price can hide weak materials. A familiar logo can hide average construction. And a dramatic sale can make you feel smart while still leaving you with a bag that peels, frays, or looks tired after one season. A trustworthy bag brand does something different. It gives you a clear reason to believe the bag will survive normal use. That reason might be full-grain leather, which means the outer surface of the hide is still intact instead of sanded down and heavily corrected. It might be a nylon or canvas bag that is honest about being lightweight and practical instead of pretending to be luxury. It might be a warranty, a repair option, or a simple design that will not look dated 6 months after the trend moves on. The best brands also make the product easy to understand. They tell you what the material is. They do not hide behind vague phrases like premium feel or vegan leather without explaining what that means. They price the bag in a way that mostly matches the materials. And when they discount, the discount does not feel like the entire business model. This is where the buying rule gets simpler. Do not ask whether a bag looks expensive. Ask whether it explains its price. Because once you stop shopping for the loudest logo, the better bags get easier to see. Number 5. Longchamp. Longchamp's Le Pliage is one of the best examples of a bag that knows exactly what it is. It is not pretending to be a luxury leather tote. It is lightweight, foldable, practical, and easy to carry. The brand is clear about the material: canvas or recycled polyamide canvas with leather trim depending on the version. That honesty matters. A Le Pliage works because the price is tied to function. It is not selling you a giant logo. It is selling you a useful shape that can hold daily items, travel extras, gym clothes, or whatever else ends up in a real person's bag. It folds down, it weighs very little. It does not need to look precious to be valuable. The caveat is that it is still not a miracle bag. Nylon and canvas can show corner wear, light colors can get dirty. It does not have the structure of a leather tote, and it will not give you that polished boardroom look if that is what you need. But for practical everyday use, Longchamp is trustworthy because the promise is realistic. You are not paying for fake leather theater. You are paying for a durable, lightweight carry-all with a long track record. That is a very different kind of value. Number 4, Cuyana. Cuyana is for the shopper who wants the opposite of the logo tote. The designs are simple, the branding is quiet, the leather is the main event. A classic Cuyana tote costs around $300, which is not cheap, but the math is clearer than most fashion bags in that range. The brand often uses Italian leather and clean silhouettes. That means the bag does not have to shout to look polished. If the leather is good, the shape is useful, and the stitching holds, you can carry the same tote for years without feeling like you are wearing last season's trend on your shoulder. Cuyana also gives buyers a stronger support signal than many trend brands because its bags and small leather goods come with a 2-year warranty. A warranty does not make a bag perfect, but it tells you the company expects the product to survive more than a few months. The limitation is style. Cuyana is minimal, almost plain by design. If you want flashy hardware, strong logos, or trendy shapes, it may feel too quiet. But quiet is exactly why it works. When the leather and shape are the selling points, the bag has a better chance of aging well. Number 3, Portland leather goods. Portland leather goods is not trying to look like a fashion house, and that is part of the strength. The appeal is material. Many of the brand's totes are built from full-grain leather, often with an unlined interior where you can see the suede side of the hide. That is not a fancy boutique trick. It is practical. A cheap lining can tear, stain, or separate from the bag long before the outer leather fails. When a tote is unlined, there is one less layer to disappoint you. The bag may feel more rugged and less polished inside, but for a daily carry tote, that can be a good trade. Full-grain leather also ages differently from plastic-coated fashion material. It can scratch, darken, soften, and develop marks from use. Some people call that damage. Leather people call it patina, which just means the surface changes with wear instead of peeling off in sheets. The caveat is that Portland leather goods has a more casual look. These bags are not sleek corporate accessories. They can feel rustic, heavy, and simple. But if your priority is leather per dollar, they are hard to ignore. That is where value gets interesting. The trusted brands are not all polished in the same way. One is practical nylon, one is quiet Italian leather, one is rugged full-grain leather. The last two show how classic construction can beat trend noise over time. Number 2, Dooney and Bourke. Dooney and Burke does not always get the same fashion attention as newer handbag brands, and that may be part of why the value still makes sense. The brand can feel traditional, even a little mature, but the construction story is stronger than many trendier bags. Look at the pebble grain line. The material is Italian full-grain cowhide, treated for water resistance. That means the bag is not just relying on a shiny finish or a designer shape. The leather itself is doing real work. Many pieces also use practical details like structured handles, cotton or linen blend linings, metal feet, secure closures, and interior pockets that are made for actual daily use. This is not the bag for someone who wants the hottest shape on social media. That is the caveat. Some Dooney bags can look classic to the point of conservative. The silhouettes are not always minimal, and the branding can feel old school. But if you want a leather bag that can handle commuting, errands, travel, and daily weight, Dooney deserves more respect than it gets. The brand is at its best when you buy leather, buy on sale, and choose a shape that already fits your life. Do not buy it because you want trend approval. Buy it because you want the bag to still make sense 3 years from now. Number 1, Coach Retail Line. Coach is the most important trusted brand on this list because it proves a brand can be popular and still offer real product value if you choose carefully. The word carefully matters. Not every Coach bag is equal. The outlet logo pieces are a different conversation from the stronger retail line. But when Coach gets it right, the materials are clear, the leather quality is convincing, and the designs balance recognition with actual wearability. Take the Tabby line as an example. Depending on the version, Coach lists materials like polished pebble leather, natural grain leather, Napa leather, glove-tanned leather, and leather lining. Those words matter because they tell you what you are paying for. Glove-tanned leather, for example, is leather treated to feel soft and smooth, closer to the feel of a well-made glove than a stiff plastic-coated bag. Coach also has something many newer brands lack, a long repair and leather care culture. That does not mean every repair is free or every bag will last forever. But it does mean the brand has built part of its reputation around leather goods, not just around a viral shape. The caveat is that Coach is having a major style moment again, so some pieces can sell out, spike in demand, or become trend purchases. Do not buy the bag only because everyone online is carrying it. Buy it because the size, leather, strap, closure, and color fit your real life. That is the final lesson. The safest bag in 2026 is not always the cheapest one, and it is not always the one with the biggest name. It is the one where the tag, the material, the construction, and the price all tell the same story. Stop buying bags that need a fake discount, a giant logo, or vague material language to feel valuable. Trust the brands that explain what the bag is made from and give you a reason to believe it will survive regular use. Which bag brand do you think changed the most, for better or worse? Drop it in the comments. Subscribe for more fashion breakdowns that follow the money, not the marketing.